Before I walked with kings, I was but a boy dreaming beyond the canals of Venice. My mother died when I was young, and my father, Niccolo Polo, was always away, trading jewels in Constantinople, bartering with Mongols in Crimea. He returned when I was 15, his beard streaked with dust from the Silk Road, speaking of a man who ruled half the world, Kublai Khan. I was but 17 when I first saw the edge of the world vanish behind me. It was the year of our Lord 1271, when my father Niccolo and my uncle Maffeo, seasoned merchants and bold men of Venice, decided to undertake a journey unlike any we had ever dared before. We were to cross the treacherous lands of the East, all the way to Cathay, the realm of the mighty Kublai Khan, emperor of the Mongol Empire, grandson of the fearsome Genghis Khan. I did not know then that I would not return for 24 years. Chapter 1: The Deserts of Persia. We left Acre and passed through Armenia, Persia, and the scorching plateaus of Yazd. The sun was merciless, and the sandstorms could strip the skin from a man's face. Yet, amid the desolation, I saw wonders. Caravans as long as rivers, carrying silks and jewels, cities carved out of mountains, and people who spoke in strange tongues, but greeted us with smiles and dates dipped in honey. We rested in the great city of Hormuz, near the Persian Gulf. My father debated whether to sail to China, but the ships were frail, sewn with leather and leaking tar. "We take the land route," he said grimly, and so we did. Chapter 2: Over the Mountains of Death. Crossing the Pamirs, the roof of the world, was a trial I would never forget. The air grew thin, and the mountains pierced the sky like the towers of heaven. Many froze to death. Wolves howled in the dark. But at night, oh, the stars shimmered like diamonds, spilled across black velvet. I saw men who hunted with golden eagles, and herders who rode on yaks across cliffs like acrobats. I kept a journal, though ink froze in the cold. I sketched maps. I watched. I learned. Chapter 3: The Land of the Eternal Dawn, Tibet to Yunnan. We descended into lush lands, valleys green as emeralds, Buddhist temples ringing with bells, monks in red robes spinning prayer wheels, and children who had never seen men with faces like ours. The people offered us fermented mare's milk, which I swallowed bravely, and we traded salt, wool, and spices along the Silk Road. We were travelers, yes, but also merchants, envoys, and at times, spies. In Yunnan, I first saw black stones that burned hotter than wood, coal, a marvel we had not in Venice. Chapter 4: The Court of Kublai Khan. Finally, after 4 years of peril and passage, we reached Chengdu, the fabled summer capital of the Khan. And there he sat. Kublai Khan, son of heaven, lord of the four quarters. Draped in silks of gold, his palace roof glittering with jade, his court a river of riches. He welcomed us, not as beggars or envoys, but as guests of the empire. He questioned me, a boy of barely 20, about Venice, Christianity, and the lands of the Franks. And I answered with honesty and wonder. To my astonishment, he took a liking to me. "Marco," he said, "you have the eyes of a hawk. You shall be my messenger." And thus began the greatest chapter of my life. The Siege of Xiangyang, 1268 to 1273. A Khan's frustration. When I arrived at Kublai Khan's court in 1275, the Mongol conquest of southern China, Song dynasty, had stalled at the impenetrable fortress of Xiangyang. For 5 years, the Mongols had failed to breach its walls. "The Song laugh at our arrows," the Khan growled. "Their walls are thick, their moats deep. We need a weapon to smash their defiance." Marco's proposal, the Frankish trebuchet. I had seen counterweight trebuchets in the West, monstrous machines that could fling stones heavier than a horse. The Mongols relied on traction trebuchets pulled by men, which lacked power. "Great Khan," I said, "in my land, we have engines that hurl death without a single man pulling ropes. Let me bring you this knowledge." The Persian engineer, Ismail and Aldin. The Khan assigned 2 Muslim engineers, likely from Persia, to work with me. Together, we designed a counterweight trebuchet, a hybrid of European and Mongol siegecraft. Frame, built from Chinese timber, reinforced with iron bands. Pre-milling, woven from Mongol horsehair and silk for elasticity. Counterweight, filled with crushed stone and lead, weighing 10,000 pounds. The first shot, terror and triumph. When the first boulder screamed through the air, even I flinched. It shattered Xiangyang's watchtower in a single strike. "By the eternal blue sky," the Khan roared. Again. For days, we bombarded the city. The Song defenders, who had mocked Mongol catapults, now faced walls collapsing like sandcastles. Victory, and a dark legend. In 1273, Xiangyang surrendered. The Khan praised me as Marco the Artillerist. But here's the twist. China records credit Muslim engineers, not me, with the trebuchets. Siradoviev exaggerated my role. A merchant's pride, you understand. I brought the idea, but the Persians perfected it. Aftermath, the Khan's new weapon. The counterweight trebuchet became standard in Mongol sieges, helping crush the Song dynasty by 1279. And well, let's just say my tales of Venetian war machines earned me extra helpings at the Khan's feasts. Chapter 4. The Long Journey Home. When the Khan, now old, finally allowed us to leave, we escorted a Mongol princess to Persia by sea, a voyage so treacherous, 600 sailors perished in storms and pirate attacks. After 24 years away, I returned to Venice in 1295, a stranger in my own home. The Silk Road was not only for trade, but for intrigue. In bulk, we shared a caravan with 2 men disguised as monks. One carried secret scrolls, maps of mineral deposits meant for a Persian prince. Another, an Armenian posing as a traitor, whispered rumors of a rebellion brewing in Karakorum. I learned then that information was the most valuable cargo. Kublai Khan himself used the Silk Road as a web of messengers. His empire employed the Yam system, stations every 25 miles, where fresh horses and supplies were kept for imperial couriers. I used this system, galloping across China with silk-sealed messages, protected by the Khan's gold tablet of authority. Ref. Chapter 8. Encounters with Islam and the Golden Cities. In the cities of Bukhara and Merv, I encountered vast libraries, learned scholars, and mosques more intricate than any cathedral. The Muslim merchants treated me with hospitality, though some eyed my crucifix with caution. Here, I understood the Silk Road was not just for goods, but for gods. Buddhism, Islam, Nestorian Christianity, Zoroastrianism, all flowed through its veins. I debated theology with Persian imams, listened to Jewish astronomers discuss the stars, and watched fire worshippers in their mountain temples. Each believed their truth. Each taught me a piece of the world. Chapter 9. Diseases and the Road of Death. Not all tales are of glory. The Silk Road, like a living thing, sometimes bled. We passed through villages empty from plague. Once, in the Gobi Desert, a fever spread through our caravan. 10 men died. Their bodies were buried in the sand, with coins on their eyes to pay the toll to heaven or hell. Bandits hunted us near Turpan. We fought with knives, losing 3 camels and nearly my uncle. Once, lightning struck a supply wagon near Dunhuang, lighting the sky in a fury of sparks. We survived, barely, but always we pressed forward. Chapter 10. At the End of the World, Chang'an and the Eastern Ocean. When I reached Chang'an, modern Xi'an, I saw a city more grand than any in Christendom. Here began, or ended, the Silk Road. I visited the terracotta warriors, hidden in underground vaults, and met Chinese scholars who used powder to make fire leap from bamboo tubes. I saw bridges made of iron and paper that bore the seal of the state. I knew then, the East had knowledge we had not yet imagined, and I knew it was my duty to carry it home. Chapter 4. Homecoming and War, 1295-1299. The Stranger in Venice. When I knocked on our palazzo's door, my own cousin barred it. "The Polos died years ago." We proved our identity by slashing our Mongol robes, spilling out rubies and sapphires sewn into the linings. Later life. I commanded a Venetian galley against Genoa and was captured. In prison, I met Rustichello da Pisa, a romance writer, who turned my ramblings into The Travels of Marco Polo. Ransomed, I returned to Venice, married Donata Badoer, and sired. Ransomed, I returned to Venice, married Donata Badoer, and sired 3 daughters. 1324. On my deathbed, a priest begged me to confess my lies. I replied, I did not tell half of what I saw. Final words. The road lives on. Now, as I pen these memories, I know many will doubt them. But the Silk Road is real. It breathes. It shifts. It connects kingdoms and emperors, shepherds and priests, traders and dreamers. It gave me knowledge, power, and a story to last lifetimes. And perhaps, one day, you too will follow its dust and whisper, "Here walked Marco Polo."